happy that we got back together and that you saw that Techstars role open up.
Yeah, so that was posted on Twitter from my friend that I told you that you guys looked at his LinkedIn. So he posted it on Twitter, and I looked at it, and I DM'd him and told him I was gonna apply, and he said that was awesome, and he's happy to hear that. So I spruced up my resume and I wrote up a cover letter. I was hoping to share that with you guys and get your feedback on that. And then maybe, put together an email and send it over to him before I go ahead and apply on their website. What do you guys think?
No, that's perfect. The more that we can make these sessions like execution focused, the better. I know last time we did like the preliminary research on the role and kind of mapped out the org a little bit. I think now that there's a specific opportunity, like let's take a look at your resume, see how it matches. We can take a look at your cover letter, see how it matches. I can definitely, or Steven and I can like make some pointers there. The email, I think, is where we can probably add the most value in terms of like something that's going to be different than what you might get somewhere else. And then hopefully get you in a position where you actually send it out.
Yeah, I'm hoping to send it out by tomorrow and put in my application.
So why don't you send us what you have? Send us like a resume, a cover letter, a link to the job. Give us everything we need.
Yeah, I can share my screen right now. So this is I showed you the job posting already before, right?
I haven't seen this. Accelerator application specialist. Oh, this is not quite to a T, but pretty much spot on what you were kind of thinking of.
Yeah, so global startup pipeline team. So that's pretty much the team that I'm pretty sure my contact is leading. So it's remote. So that's good. And it's also temporary and part-time. So it's 20 hours a week. And it's temporary, which is a good way to kind of just prove myself, get in, and allow them to find my role, with me. Yeah, so I added the Gadget Flow one. Definitely kind of want help with that, and definitely overall input on all of it.
So this is the way I would frame it. This is just my opinion. Steven, tell me if you agree. But as I look at this role in particular, I think this is a common like position or trap maybe that people fall into, and it's interesting because like you have a resume based on your ability to build relationships and build strategic partnerships. You're a natural networker, right? But this role actually doesn't really require any of that. What this role requires is spreadsheets, project management, right? Fast-paced environments, really understanding like marketing CRM, not letting details fall through the cracks. You're going to have to be like mega organized. They're going to have a lot of applications, a lot of columns, a lot of data points, right? And you need to be able to kind of go through all of that and understand how you're going to both use your instincts to pick out like a good team or use the data points that you have available to you to pick out a good team. So like if you go back to your resume, if you want to just pop it up, like going into Gadget Flow, were you doing anything there that required you to maybe take in a lot of inbound sales, or were you like managing or organizing processes on that team? Like were there specific like little micro tasks that you were doing that like kept the process flowing that you can point to?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of inbound leads through Intercom. So, I manage leads through Intercom. We pay a company for leads. They get put into a CRM and into a drip campaign. So I, manage the drip campaign. I can update our messages and kind of refine and fine tune that whole drip campaign. So I'm involved with that. And then, I'm constantly using, our CRM for all of our different leads and going back and forth through Monday, the platform Monday, for our operations team and creating tasks and getting everybody to do what I'm selling. So I'm using different platforms and CRMs and engaging with other teams on a regular basis and doing, my own, lead pipeline management and all of that, going from, start to close and invoicing and all of that.
I would write all of that down as concisely as you can, essentially.
Yeah, that's the challenge, right?
If you can, I think one thing that could really be a standout point too is if you can allude to, like when you say conducted 10 product demos on average per day, if you could sort of minimally expand on it, but like sneak in how you created a framework or checklist to do 10, you know what I mean? Like something to show them that not only can you handle the load, but you built a quick,
right, I can systemize things.
Yeah, exactly. So that you can sort of telegraph, if you're going to ask me to look at like 100 applications a week or whatever the number is, I'm used to doing 10 demos a day, conducting them, getting the follow-up done, having the clear next steps to close them. It's pretty transactional, I think, right? That the Gadget Flow one, right? Those were really long sales cycles.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, I think talking about your ability to like quickly synthesize information, make a decision, drive to a close, and then sort of like move on to the next task in a really organized way would be a real standout.
Yeah, we'll see how I do with only 3 bullet points. That's real tough. I'll give it my best shot.
What do you guys think about the length and the number of words on the page?
I'm okay with it. I mean, especially if you're going to take this somewhat creative route, right? I don't think it's very busy, and I think it's clear how you're trying to organize in a succinct way. Like it's you on the left, and it's your experience on the right, more or less. So I think that's really clear, and it does kind of force you to be pretty ruthless with what you're going to highlight in 3 bullets, etc. I would, if you were to cut anything, because if you did want to like get a little bit length, if you wanted to add maybe, if anything, I would maybe put one other bullet in the most recent role and or your co-founding role. And if you wanted to cut anything, like you could cut the business school and or references stuff, if you needed to. Because I think it would be the least relevant to hiring you today, but I don't think it hurts or harms you. If you wanted an area to edit out for space, that's what I would look at.
So you think? Yeah, I agree with you with the academic. Nobody really has even asked me or talked to me about that in a long, long time. Just it's almost irrelevant at this point.
I was going to say that with one exception I can think of, and Hythen, maybe you can like expand on this too. I do have a friend who is a co-founder of an AR VR company, and for some reason, like I think a big hang-up he has, frankly, is a little bit of a bias towards sort of vanity metrics around like academics and stuff. And I think that's hurt him in the past by overly lengthening his hiring process because he focuses, he actively looks for certain schools or like Google experience or something. I think that's still the minority, but I think that would be my only pitfall. Maybe you've seen something similar with people hiring.
Yeah, I mean, like, for example, I can definitely take this out, like, for sure. I can combine these two somehow.
I actually think that part was more relevant than the other part, because for me it's more like when I chat with students or someone who was active in their academic, career or whatever recently. A lot of times, what stands out at me is like someone who has taken on a leadership role or started an organization from nothing and was able to organize around it and kind of drove some change on campus versus like just getting a good GPA or getting a major, getting a minor. Like, anyone can do that, I guess. But the ones that really stand out are the ones that are able to like actually evangelize and do their own things.
So you think I should just list that internship as its own employment experience and just take out the academic?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you were involved in other things.
Oh yeah, I've had like 1,000 jobs, in between.
Yeah, I would
So
say
I've worked
like
with over 500 companies that I didn't have
yeah,
on here.
I would say like active in entrepreneurship. Took on a 8-month internship program that drove 65K door to door sales in quarter or whatever. Like just describe like what you did during your time there versus your major and GPA, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I like that.
You have the Bachelor of Science and the dates down below, and that's really all you need.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. I like that.
I mean,
I
from
definitely like that.
from Steven's point about certain universities and that sort of affinity. I think for like Techstars, like if the hiring manager went to that school, like look out for that. If someone on the team went to that school, look out for that. If someone on the team went to a rival school, or someone like a hiring manager went to a rival school, look out for that, because people do notice that kind of stuff. At least people that went to big like sports schools.
Yeah, Berkeley, Stanford, Cal, or UCLA, USC, stuff like that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I hesitate sometimes to reach out to Ohio State and Michigan alum on LinkedIn for sales outreach, because I'm like, they're not going to talk to me.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Or I acknowledge it right off the bat, and I go at them, and I tell them like, I'll say something like what's the difference between account executive from what's the difference between an account executive who's a Buckeye versus an account executive who's a Nittany Lion? And then I'll say something like, I'm sure you have a strong opinion either way, but blah blah blah, and I'll kind of go into like some silly thing. So if you wanted to like play on it, you could, but that's just some of my thoughts on like how to use universities in your search.
Yeah. No, I mean, I haven't tried to use it too much. I wasn't too big of a school spirit kind of guy. But do you guys like this left side section with the skills and competencies?
I think it's cool. The only thing I don't like from my point of view, I guess, it was just like is every single word there actually important, and do any of them make you seem like you're kind of just like very good at a lot of things instead of like a specialist in some area, or at least like someone who can like buckle down and focus on the job at hand? Because I think with this role, if I'm being completely honest with you, like they're gonna need you to just kind of just like, this is your in, like this is just your way of like doing some of like the groundwork and proving yourself. So right now they don't necessarily like, I think they'll value like salesmanship and networking and things like that. I think like, but you need to like proactively distinguish between those things. You know what I mean? Like almost like key competencies for this role, and then like other interests or something. Maybe that's how you do it. Like the titles of those sections, like maybe the top one, instead of key competencies, it can be like something like competencies for this role, and then the next section could be something like other interests. Like in the future, for future roles.
Complementary skills or something.
Yeah. I do like that you're using Canva, and that you're creating like a really visually appealing presentation of data, because that's definitely something that
that's a great point.
Evaluating. So I think that in and of itself is sort of like a big perk. And then yes, like to Hyphen's point, being I think if you can be succinct and clear about the generalities that you want to highlight, since to me this seems like more of a generalist with a competency in execution, then what they'll do is figure out like, okay, we have a pretty clear idea of a lot of different things that need to get them done, and then we'll find out like, do they value you as a really efficient generalist, or through working with them, will you be able to like shine with some speciality?
Yeah.
But we don't know what that might be.
I have a bonus for you. Great point about Canva. Like I was gonna comment on asking you like how you got to that kind of decision, and it looks really nice, and I don't think a lot of people are probably doing it. We use Canva for like social posts and things like that, but I think for a resume it's awesome. I noticed that you were using the color green, and obviously there is an association with green in terms of like money and go and things like that. Is it this green in the Techstars?
No, it's my green for my personal brand website.
So you have a personal brand that's that green. Because what you could do, and what a lot of candidates maybe don't do as much, is use something like a Google color picker and actually grab the company's main color and have that
Mhm.
and like be part of their team right off the bat. Like brand yourself within their ecosystem somehow. You know what I mean? So they can picture it, even if it's
Yeah,
subconscious.
yeah, no, definitely. I definitely got the color dropper right on in my Chrome too, so I could definitely do that. That's a pretty good idea for sure. That crossed my mind. I wasn't sure whether to do their green or my green because I know both of our colors are green.
Yeah, I mean, you don't like you. It's not something you would call out, but again, it could subconsciously help you out.
Yeah, this is my personal site. Just so you guys can see it real quick. This is the same green there. That's part of my logo.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
I like both ideas.
Yeah.
I don't have. I don't think one is necessarily like bad at all. I think it's brilliant that you have put that much thought into something like the color, which is great, and I know that'll shine through. And I hadn't even thought of that Google color grab thing. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. No, we do it with some of the brands that we work with. Like when we feature, like when we do a spotlight, we will try our best to incorporate their feel as much as we can without obviously like infringing on their privacy or rights.
Mm-hmm. And I have the cover letter too, which I need to shorten as well. But definitely, if you guys want to give me your input on that too. But
Is the cover letter an explicit ask of the application?
yeah,
This is the way I look at these kinds of things in general, and I'll repeat this a lot. But when I look at this cover letter, when I'm critiquing it or whatever, what I'm looking for is, are you actually putting something on here that I'm not going to see anywhere else, right? Like, or that I'm not going to see as commonly anywhere else. So, for example, how many people do you think are writing relationship-driven, entrepreneur, passion, startup ecosystem, like, let's say these are good. I would just like kick off with like, I'm sure that like me, everyone else that applies for this role is entrepreneurial, passionate, has experience, blah 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 blah, right? And then go into this is what makes me stand out, right? And invite them to learn more about you as your call to action kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely like that. So I definitely like
don't
that.
Take
intro.
credit for that kind of stuff because it's like it's awesome. Trust me, like that's amazing, of course. But
yeah, it doesn't separate me from the bunch. Maybe from the general population,
no, I mean, look, like,
not from the application pool.
It's like you're an athlete going into the NBA. You reach out to like the owner and like, hey, like I'm hardworking. I exercise. I played basketball in high school. They're gonna be like, okay, so did 50 million other people who want to get into the NBA. Like, what's the punchline? Like, why you? What makes you better? What's your highlight reel?
You're absolutely right. Yeah. Okay, I definitely will follow that advice for sure.
And then just a little tweak with like that last bullet, have been the Techstars demo day events written about. I would rewrite it and put the focus on if you can highlight something about a specific company that you wrote about, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So you made it into the intros program. Don't lead with the fact that you went to demo day. Like that's again that's the lowest barrier to entry and least unique part about what you're talking about. And it's implicit that you are really interested in Techstars if you highlight a really interesting company that you wrote about in 2016, yada yada, or lead with the fact that you made intros program. Is that a typo? Even made intros program already?
Well,
yeah, I think messing with it.
I have an interesting idea. It could be really dumb, as usual.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just building off of what Steven is saying, like, what if instead, forget about you, right? Mind blown. What if your cover letter was about companies that you went, hey, Techstars, I'm sure like everybody else, blah, 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 right? I'm so awesome, blah, 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 right? What makes me stand out is blah, 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 blah. What I did was I went into all of Techstars' past demo days. I went into the notes that I have on them, right? I started looking at certain factors like the founding team, the size of the market, the this, the that. And these are the 5 that stood out to me, just so you have an idea of the way that I approach these types of, like, whatever. Boom, 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 boom. List them. Why do I love them? Like, my goal is to find more of these types of companies globally. I love you, Peter.
That's a very interesting
Do the job,
switch. Yeah, I definitely would say that they wouldn't see anything like that.
Oh, easily. Yeah, I love that. You would be absolutely 1 in 100 with that.
You would.
Yeah, I like that. Either like the preface is either like after ripping through 100 demo day presentations.
Yes.
I distilled A, B, C, and D as the key like relevant parts. These 5 companies were most consistent with that. Something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be. Nobody is going to do that. I'll guarantee you, not a single other person. No, maybe one will do it, and they might not execute it very well.
And you know what else? It gives you permission to be like, read this letter.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you reach out to somebody and say, I'm so unique, I'm so awesome, here's my cover letter, and they look at it and it's not unique and awesome, they're gonna hate, they're gonna like not only not, they're gonna not only. Before it was neutral. Now they're going to go into this person doesn't deliver on what they promise, So this will give you the confidence and the permission to reach out to somebody and say, I sent in my cover letter. I just want to make sure somebody reads it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that'll give you content too to reach out to them with, right? Like you bust ass and you'll be so confident because of all the work you did that you'll feel great about submitting it, and then you'll have you'll already know all these different things to talk about that they'll be excited about, and then you just pull one of those demos, for example, and you put that in the cold email you send to somebody to make sure they're reading this, and you just ask them about it. Like, this was my favorite one. This is what I think was attractive to Techstars or why they were accepted. Can you, do you concur with, my evaluation? Did you like another one from this demo day? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to give that a try. I mean, I haven't watched 100 demo day videos.
You could do 5 or, you could 2-5 times speed watch, 10 of them. And that would still be just way above and beyond what this, everyone else is going to rack their brain over which active word they choose in a cover letter that's going to look 99% the same as someone else. Whereas, you and maybe 2 other people will actually think, what can I do as a mini project to already deliver value related to the role?
And it's essentially 100% impossible that someone else is going to have the same process, the same companies that you chose, and why.
That's true.
Right? You're guaranteed to be unique if you send a letter like this.
No, I like that. I'm definitely going to redo that letter in that way, or have a different version. Maybe use something like this for some other thing.
Yeah, that's your deposit,
Yeah.
Like Josh Braun talks about that all the time. Like, that's your deposit. You're like, a cover letter is not meant to be a withdrawal, right? A lot of people treat it that way, and it's been taught that way. And in the past, maybe it was a withdrawal. Can I have the interview, right? But I think now it's not. Now you really have to walk the walk.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And then what do you guys have to say on the email part? Or do you guys want to take over on that side?
The email. So who is the email going to? And I actually had another idea, but it's almost like a third layer. Like, let's say, for example, I don't know how long it takes for Techstars to um, hire someone, right? Like when this role was posted, how many applications they have, like how long their process is. But let's say, for example, that you send this letter, we write an email, you send it, nobody answers. Like, you're a very well connected guy. Like, you could easily post on LinkedIn, like, hey, like Techstars is hiring, like, you know, uh, these are the companies that I chose. You can almost like post this project on LinkedIn, tag some people. Steven and I will like it and comment and like tag a Techstars person and just start again. Just like be that thing and see if other people comment and talk about startups they like and just be the man.
Mm-hmm.
If you have trouble, I wouldn't do that now because it's a little stalky. But if you have trouble getting in touch with them, like that can be a third layer on top if you really wanted to like go ham. But let's look at the email. Who is it for, and what's the purpose of it?
It's gonna be for the fellow I showed you guys last time. I'll pull up his LinkedIn here.
Okay, cool. So it's like him letting him know that you applied.
Yeah. So I let him know that I'm gonna apply on just quick DM on Twitter once he shared it. And then I'm thinking once I get my, the resume and cover letter buttoned up, I just pass it to him in an email and let him know that I'm going forward with it and maybe get his feedback on it before I actually put it through into the website.
Well, Steven, what do you think about actually sending an email to Saba and being like, hey, man, like, whatever you want to say, blah, 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 and then just explaining your process of what you did, like, and getting his blessing? Like, he might come back and say, holy crap, that's amazing, or, why, and then it gives him a little bit of extra enthusiasm because your goal of reaching out to Saba is not to have him connect you to someone or have him answer. It's to make him look really good.
Yeah.
So you need to position your email that way. Like, you're going out on a limb, so I want to make sure that I did everything I can. I made this process to kind of like walk the walk. Like, if this is something that you are like very excited about and are willing to like, push me forward, awesome. If you don't like it, what I don't want you to do is introduce me just because we're friends,
Mm-hmm.
And then let him.
Yeah, I don't think there's any intros there. I mean, they have the application right on the website. So I don't think there's any other, way in other than through that. I wouldn't ask for an intro, and he is the manager, so it's even possible that he is the one deciding.
Well, maybe then you don't. And like Steven, kind of go ahead, but like maybe it's not like intro. Maybe it's just more like that I would stand out and I would be one of the people. You know what I mean?
I think if you just ship it and then go to him and say, this is what I did. Yeah. This is why I did it. Here's a question. I would just kind of love like overall feedback on. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I wouldn't want to
feedback on it before I send it in.
Yeah, do it after. Yeah. It shows that like I'm confident enough that this was great and I shipped it because I want to get it done and I'll learn from if it doesn't work later. Mm-hmm. Having said that, now that it's sent, like what would you have done differently, or like pick one specific demo day thing, or like I'd work maybe like another. I think that the big risk is if you ask him like, hey, what do you think? Should I send this?
I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah, cool.
It's going to be a hint of confidence there, and also he knows that I go to the demo days. He knows that I apply for Techstars. He knows that I know their application process and the F-Success platform.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't think I need to put any of that in my cover letter. So I think I'm definitely going to go with your guys' recommendation on that.
Nice, man. Yeah, I'm excited. I think it'll work, hopefully. Yeah, that's awesome. And then, the interview and that whole process is another story that we'll run through. But let's just at least put our best foot forward. We have nothing to lose. Go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love this. I was taking notes myself. I'm like, I'm for sure using this in the future for myself.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, wait.
Yeah, there's some good hacks.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
this is
can come up
great.
with these all
Well,
day.
guys, I gotta ask. I mean, why are you giving me all this time? I mean, well, you know, what is in it for you guys to be doing this with so many people?
Hyphen, do you want to start with that since I kind of found you and I'd hire me after you started it?
Yeah, I mean, I could obviously joke and say like you're going to be a billionaire one day, Peter, and um, I'm going to add so much value to your life that you have no choice but to reach out to me. But um, no, I mean, we started this at the beginning of COVID, and um, being that we were in sales and marketing pretty much our whole careers, we had a big network of sellers and marketers, and a lot of our friends and peers were being laid off at companies where they were just like getting hit and industries were declining. But at the same time, there were also a lot of industries that were increasing and growing, and people were actually hiring. So we just like organically started making those connections, right? And then over time, we started to like form into a community where like sellers and marketers would come together. We kind of feature sales and marketing leaders and really great things that they're doing. We realized that like the power dynamic has shifted in the market a lot, where like tens of thousands of candidates have just been like thrown in basically, and companies are overwhelmed. You know, and believe it or not, it sounds like that might be a good problem for companies to have, but in many ways, it's not. Like there's too much noise, and you know, it's getting more important for both sides to stand out. So the more we can do these kinds of things and get a lot of this content created, um, like we can rise up the whole ecosystem. And if we can be a platform where sellers and marketers come to us to stand out, I think that's like much more valuable than like, hey Peter, pay me like a few $100 to like look at your resume and like write a few emails with you, or like, hey company, like I'm gonna go be a recruiter and you know find you know sales and marketing talent for you, pay me for a placement fee. I'm sure there's a time and place for that, but I feel like right now it's like more about like building a community. So that's what we're excited about.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm all on board, and definitely want you guys to make money in the long run. So I just want you to know I really appreciate your time and your effort and your mental capacity being spent on me and pushing me forward. So thank you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and likewise, like you know, it's a two-way street. As much as you know,
Yeah.
we're sort of like saying, "Hey, come to us. We have time to give." You know, a lot of people, you know, you can open a lot of doors for people, but they got to walk through. You know,
Yeah.
and like one thing that sort of crystallized this for me when I reached out to Hytham was like kind of two big things. The last two people I hired came to me with a really great cold pitch on why I should hire them. And I'm just like, wow, this is, you know, why don't more people do this? And like, maybe it's just not being taught. So the recruiters I work with internally and externally, they don't really help like this. There's nobody guiding them. And I sat through a totally unrelated webinar with Beck Holland, who just did such a great job, like distilling tactics. And I went and ran with it immediately, and it worked. And I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of people passing around good information that like doesn't get used because either it's packaged poorly or they just don't push the people listening to execute. And so I came to Hytham and said, hey, I think I have some ideas for ways that I can help what I think you're doing. How can I like pay it forward with people who are trying to find their next gig?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And hopefully soon I'm in a better position to pay it forward in bigger ways as well.
Yeah, I mean, Peter, look, like we talk with candidates all the time, and like just the fact that you are here, like you're in the arena, like
Yeah.
you're already awesome, right? Like, you know, a lot of candidates have like cold feet about doing video sessions or, you know, doing a stand up where you're kind of put on the spot in front of a hiring company on video and you have to like showcase your skills. But again, at the end of the day, like if you're not actually showing and doing, right, and being the seller or the marketer that you say you are, no one's gonna believe you, right? And it's gonna be really hard for you to stand out above everybody else. So just the fact that you're here doing this kind of stuff and like getting out of your comfort zone, because it's not always easy, like that is a great example for other people to understand what it takes.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, man. Appreciate both of you. I don't want to take up any more time today. I know you got more of these on your calendar, I'm sure. So I'll run with the suggestions you gave me and go ahead and submit and hit up Saba after I apply and keep you guys posted.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, please. I'm excited. I really kind of can't wait to see how this goes. I'm just really excited. It sounds like a great plan, and you'll do great as long as you get their attention. And I think this is the best way to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Send us the email and maybe even your resume, because you'd be surprised how much like wording and order of things makes a bigger difference than you might see. So if you want us to give it a quick glance, we definitely can. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. I'll do that then before I submit it to you.
Yeah, another topic for another day.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, thanks, guys, and we'll talk again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Peter.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.